What is an appraisal gap? That's the question I get all the time. What is an appraisal gap? Michelle.oddo with the Oddo Group at Luminate Home Loans. And right now with offers being, 10, 20, 30 offers on the same house, people are getting very aggressive in the way they're putting their offers together. So we are seeing a lot of people, offering over asking price by quite a bit and then putting in an appraisal gap. What's an appraisal gap? Well, an appraisal gap is when the borrower or the buyer agree to a price with the seller that is higher than the asking price and possibly higher than it will appraise for. So an example, let's say the house is listed for $500,000. Let's say the buyer ends up going under contract at $550,000 with an appraisal gap up to $500,000, meaning they'll give a $50,000 appraisal gap. So what they're saying is if the asking price was $500,000 and they offered that $550,000 we just talked about, and it appraises at $500,000, they are willing to still move forward. Their loan will be based on the $500,000. That's what we're going to use for value. It doesn't matter that they're paying $550,000. If the appraisal's lower, that's what we use for value for our loan. So they're saying even if it appraises for $500,000, we will pay the other $50,000, that gap, to make up the difference so that we still perform on the contract and close as planned. Now, will they always have to come up with $50,000 more? Not necessarily. Let's say that their plan all along was to put down 30% or 20%. If all of a sudden our house doesn't appraise for the asking price, the contract price, $550,000, and it only appraises for $500,000, and we're using $500,000 for our number, but all along they were going to do a loan for 80%, it doesn't mean they're going to have to come up with that other $50,000. It might mean we just do the same loan amount we planned on doing all along, and now our loan amount's no longer an 80% loan. So, it's a little complicated and every situation might be a little different, but it doesn't always mean that the buyer will have to come up with all of the difference of those funds. It could very well mean that we just raise our loan to value, what we call loan to value. So we do the same loan amount on the lower value, and now all of a sudden they're no longer an 80. Maybe they're an 85, or maybe you're a 90% loan or 95. Maybe you need to have PMI, but you can still move forward and not come up with the extra money if you don't want to, or you have the option to come up with it if you have it. So that's what an appraisal gap is. It just means that you as the buyer agree to close on that property with that higher contract price that you've agreed to, whether it appraises or not. And sometimes the gap is unlimited. Sometimes there's a dollar amount. Sometimes you might write in your contract that you're willing to come up with a $20,000 gap. So it has to at least appraise within $20,000 of the contract price. That's what an appraisal gap is. We're seeing a lot of it right now just due to the sheer amount of offers and what people are having to resort to get under contract on a home.